2020 has not turned into what we all hoped and expected when it comes to pretty much everything, but specifically entertainment and Nintendo's push of new games this year. Though is this a planned strategy aimed to bring their games when they need them at the end of this and the first half of next year, or is it simply a result of all the cancellations and the worldwide situation? In this video we'll go over it, but first be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Less than 2,000 subscribers left to go to 250,000, so let's get there by the end of April. Hello everyone, Conrad of the Commonwealth Realm here. With Gamescom 2020 cancelled, all of the major gaming events that Nintendo attends annually, this year has become kind of cursed. And what is even worse is that there will be no digital replacements of E3 and Gamescom, and this decision has left a lot of the traditional gaming calendar in limbo when it comes to presentations, reveals, and releases of games. Nintendo, as we all know, had probably big plans for the Nintendo Switch this year, starting off incredibly strong with Animal Crossing New Horizons. However, after the big Animal Crossing booth at PAX East and the launch of the game on March 20th, Nintendo has not revealed a single big Nintendo game or any hints of what we can expect next. Instead, all PR forces are placed on the May 29 launch of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, an HD remaster of one of the most complex and hardcore titles, and which far from everyone will be able to endure with its close to 100-hour-long quest, and even so more with the epilogue. Needless to say, this game eliminates all casual players, which definitely will not be playing this game, and also make up a substantial portion of the Switch owner base. And as such, I really don't believe this game will be able to sell more than somewhere between 1 and 2 million copies worldwide. Next we have June and July, and let's face it, this year, unlike 2017, 2018 and 2019, we will not have a single big Nintendo title in either of these months, as that window has closed with no Nintendo games focused Nintendo Directs by the end of April. Instead, it looks more and more likely that both of these traditional Nintendo summer months will instead be filled by DLCs, third-party ports, and possibly Bravely Default 2. This brings us over to the topic of this video. If Nintendo hosts a proper Nintendo Direct in say mid-May or when E3 was supposed to take place in the second week of June, can we first and foremost expect big new Nintendo reveals? Probably yes, but can we expect them before August? Most likely not, as Nintendo don't reveal their bigger titles and launch them 2 months later. Usually there is at least a 4-month gap between reveal and release, and this rule for the most part applies. Just take the E3 reveal of 2018 Super Mario Party, that was a little bit more than a 4-month gap. So we will not see any new Nintendo games released on the Switch until September, possibly even October. No, as it is obvious that Nintendo is hard at work with a number of new titles for the Nintendo Switch. And as I speak these words, it's likely that many of them are being prepared for reveals in the next coming months. It is just that the possible lack of Nintendo titles in the first few months after Animal Crossing might be deliberate by Nintendo and aimed towards their biggest competitive threat this year, namely the launch of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Just think about this, the release of 2 big next-generation gaming consoles has been a well-known fact for at least the last 2 years, and has probably been a part of Nintendo's strategy for 2020 almost pretty much since the launch of the Nintendo Switch in March 2017. In other words, the few months of no Nintendo games drought that we're likely in after the launch of Animal Crossing might have been planned by Nintendo several years ago, but why? Next generation of PlayStation and Xbox obviously. You see, after Nintendo abandoned to launch the next-gen systems around the same year as their competitors with the Nintendo Switch, they have put a lot of effort on the Nintendo Switch and how to deal with it in the different stages of its life cycle. 2017 was the crucial launch year of this groundbreaking piece of hardware and needed a massive output of system seller titles across the first 6 months in order to turn the system into a success. Then after the successful kickstart, Nintendo calmed down in 2018 until pushing very hard in the last 3 months of the year with Super Mario Party, Pokemon Let's Go and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, all titles that have sold 10 million copies or more on the system. 2019 was another hardware year with Nintendo Switch Lite and the revised base model, which was supported with a long list of Nintendo or at least third-party exclusive games every month beginning from the end of June all the way to the end of November. Since then, however, we have only had Animal Crossing, and despite data mined information regarding possible new hardware, we don't know if this is A, the long-rumored top-model Nintendo Switch, or B, a VR headset or some other Nintendo hardware peripheral that is tied to the Nintendo Switch. Option A, however, appears to still be a little bit unlikely to happen in 2020, since Nintendo's president Shintaro Furukawa stated himself that Nintendo will neither reveal nor release any new Nintendo Switch models this year. Now, it might be possible that Nintendo changed their plans since then, but personally I find this unlikely, seeing the issues that Sony is facing with producing and delivering a substantial number of PlayStation 5 systems for the launch and holiday season. The situation worldwide impacts every part of the game industry, from the mass-attended conventions to the production of hardware and physical versions of games. Even the development of them. Like everyone, I would love to be wrong and get a Nintendo Switch Pro this year along with Breath of the Wild sequel, but as things are around the world, I simply can't trust this hope. Naturally, the lack of information and reveals of any upcoming Nintendo games this year is concerning and makes it look that 2020 will be another 2018, only most likely without the traditional June and July releases that Nintendo has been able to deliver first-party games for in the last 3 years. August, however, is still viable and also could be likely, as it looks like the situation worldwide could be under relative control by this point. Well, that is unless Nintendo decides to dedicate this month for No More Heroes 3. Then again, this title alone shouldn't stand in the way for a different Nintendo title. Now then, the big question. When do we need the next Nintendo Direct to get a title in the second half of August instead of the second half of September? Most likely May, as Nintendo needs time to start promoting this game shortly after Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is out on May 29th. Perhaps Nintendo, with no obligations from the ESA to be part of a digital E3, decides to host a big summer direct in May instead of June. This might actually be the case, as this way Nintendo can come with the reveals a few weeks prior to Sony and Microsoft's next-gen presentations, and perhaps even be able to hug the spotlight for a few days, a few weeks, maybe even a month. By doing it in this way, a Nintendo Direct might not be too far away and probably even take place before the release of Ninjala and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition in the end of May. Though you still have the issue with the ARMS Smash Bros. Ultimate character reveal, which is due to take place in June. So there is that. And if June is still the month for the next big Nintendo Direct for Nintendo games, then even August might be in danger of having no new Nintendo games or any Nintendo game releases for that matter. Say that the rumored big Mario HD collection for the 35th anniversary of the franchise actually doesn't come until September, though this one again could possibly be revealed separately in, for instance, May. In fact, it could be a Mario-specific Direct, which reveals the planned Mario games for the anniversary along with more talk on LEGO Mario and updates on whether Super Nintendo World will open in 2020. When I think about this, Nintendo could actually launch this collection in August, followed by Super Mario 3D World Deluxe in September. Imagine if we get this Mario Direct first in May to properly celebrate the 35th anniversary, and then a general Nintendo Direct in June with the reveals of all the other Nintendo games planned from September to the end of the year. A division like this would also be the perfect opportunity to put more highlight on Breath of the Wild sequel, like revealing its title and confirm whether it will come out this year or next year. Naturally, if we are to believe the words of President Furukawa, neither of these potential directs will talk about the new Nintendo Switch model, but they could in return be packed with Mario, Zelda and other Nintendo software news. In particular, games that will come out in October, November and December, around the same months where PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X will launch, and with them likely The Last of Us Part 2 and Halo Infinite. This way, Nintendo can have the exact games needed to maintain interest for the Nintendo Switch, despite the release of the competitive systems that technically will lay the Switch to complete dust. After all, what is all of this about these days and the next few months? It's about survival, and it's also the same for Nintendo, and in order to let their plan of a long life for the Nintendo Switch survive, they need to deliver solid first-party games, masterpieces that can only be experienced on the Switch and nowhere else. This alone will be enough to maintain the sales pace until Breath of the Wild sequel can give the perfect launch to this new Nintendo Switch model in the first half of 2021. With it and more hardcore system seller titles in 2021, Nintendo will be able to add another 3 years to the Switch's lifecycle before coming out with their own next-gen 4K system in 2024, once again in the middle of PlayStation 5's and Xbox Series X lifecycle, just like the Switch and the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Then, has Nintendo given up on releasing any of the games they have developed before August 2020? Most likely yes, but as we have now detailed for very good reasons. Arguments that go in line with the worldwide situation that will last to at least throughout this summer, having these games release around the same time as the next-gen systems and their launch titles, and also continue work on new Nintendo Switch models that, along with their greatest system sellers, will most likely be ready for the first half of 2021. It will for sure be a painful wait, but in the end it is likely to be worth it, as the end of this year, and more so 2021, look very promising. We just need to stay strong and patient, and who knows, if before August we might see one or maybe even two Nintendo Directs. products. Presentations that will restore confidence with tons of Mario, more details on Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel, and games we have no idea about at this stage, though it is likely that they might include something of ARMS, Mario Kart, or maybe Pikmin. No matter what we end up with by the end of this year, I'm certain that Nintendo has a plan and will make the months from August to December memorable and full of some of the best franchises the Big N has to offer. But what do you think about all of this? And do you think we could see any new Nintendo games developed and published release before August? Then sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, please leave a like so more people can watch this video, and subscribe. Plus press that notification bell and again for all notifications, as we are almost at 250,000 subscribers. Less than 2,000 left to go. Finally, if you want to support us a bit extra, then join our patrons on patreon.com/commonrealm or by pressing the join button here on YouTube to become a member of the realm. Anyhow, we hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want more, why not check out one of these two awesome videos.